Hello, and welcome back to the Broken Business Models channel. I'm your host, James, and before we get into the video, just a quick disclaimer that nothing I say here should be taken as investment advice. I may have positions in any of the stocks we may mention, and I reserve the right to change my positions at any time. So without further ado, let's get into the topic of today's video. And the stock we're going to talk about today, I came across kind of randomly. So today I was browsing on CNBC, and CNBC is an ad-supported website where you can see if you scroll down to the bottom of any article, there's a bunch of ads, a bunch of paid advertisements. And a lot of these ads are stock promotions. So look at this one here on the right, AI meets Bitcoin, and almost nobody is watching this stock. It's not hype, it's infrastructure. And one real world business is already getting ahead of the next crypto wave. This is a sponsored post. So I clicked onto this ad, and it took me to this article on Bullseye Trades. And there's a disclaimer at the top saying that this is issuer-sponsored content by Upexi. So Upexi is a publicly traded company, and they paid Bullseye Trades to make this stock promotion article and advertise it on CNBC. And Upexi is a crypto treasury company. It's a company that issues shares and uses the share to buy crypto. In this case, Upexi does Solana. And if you look, these screenshots are all from this stock promotion article from Bullseye Trades. And at the bottom, they disclose that they were previously paid $15,000 for a stock promotion campaign in February 2025. And they were also paid $35,000 by Upexi for a stock promotion campaign in January of 2025. So those are stock promotion campaigns they did last year. I'm not sure if that's a typo and that's supposed to be 2026, but clearly they are still being paid as of today, as of February 2026. Upexi is still paying this Bullseye Trades company to write these stock promotion articles. Now, Upexi is a penny stock company, and originally they did some type of e-commerce thing. They produced some health and wellness consumer products, which they sold on Amazon. And, as of early 2025, it was this tiny penny stock company. Its share price was, $2, $3 a share. But then you see there was this massive increase in share price in April of 2025. And this coincided with Upexi announcing that it was transitioning to become a Solana treasury company. So they started raising a bunch of cash and using the cash to buy Solana coins. Solana is a cryptocurrency. And there was initially a huge pump in the share price. But then since then, Upexi's share price has gradually given up all of those gains. And in fact, today, Upexi's share price is lower than it was before they announced their Solana treasury strategy. Part of the reason for the poor performance of Upexi's stock price is that during this period, the price of Solana has declined significantly. So they started purchasing Solana in April 2025, and they continued purchasing it throughout 2025. But when they started purchasing Solana back in April, the Solana price was about $134 per coin. Now it has declined to just $92. So that's a massive loss. So before, as I said earlier, before Upexi became a Solana treasury company, they were a consumer products company that sold various health and wellness products on Amazon. But their revenue was pretty small. These blue bars show Upexi's revenue from their core business. They make $3 to $4 million of revenue per quarter, and they have always incurred operating losses. Now, over the past two quarters is when they started buying Solana, and Solana is kind of similar to Ethereum. It has a proof of stake validation system. So if you own Solana coins, you can stake them and generate a yield which is paid in newly minted Solana coins. So the orange portion of these bars, that is the revenue that they are now receiving, the yield that they are now receiving as they stake their Solana. So their revenue technically has increased, but it's just from the Solana yield. The actual revenue from their core e-commerce business is declining. And also over the past 2 quarters, as they launched this Solana treasury strategy, their cash flow has their cash burn has gotten much worse. So prior to them announcing the Solana treasury strategy, they were only burning, $1 or $2 million per quarter. But in the most recent quarter, which was ended September 2025, they burned almost $10 million of negative operating cash flow. So why has their cash burn accelerated since announcing the Solana treasury strategy? And remember, this is operating cash flow. So this does not include the cash that they used to actually purchase Solana. This is just their cash burn from basically keeping the lights on and paying their employees and such. So I believe that the reason why their cash burn has exploded over the past couple of quarters is because now they're spending probably millions of dollars trying to promote their stock. So just this one Bullseye Trades, they were paid a total of $50,000 by Upexi to run these stock promotion articles. Upexi is probably hiring many of these, similar stock promotion agencies. So it's conceivable that they're spending millions of dollars on stock promotion on advertising for stock promotion, and that would explain why their cash burn is accelerating. Now, the main purpose of any crypto treasury company is that you issue shares to raise cash, and then you use that cash to buy the crypto asset, in this case, Solana. So since they started this Solana treasury strategy, Upexi has accumulated 2.4 million Solana coins, and their number of shares outstanding has also exploded they basically have been tracking each other. Yes, they have accumulated a lot of Solana, but they were only able to do that by issuing tens of millions of new shares, and that's how they raise the cash to purchase the Solana. So let's look at, as of February 2025, based on Upexi's SEC filings, we can calculate how much Solana they own and their net asset value and compare that to their market cap. So as of February 2025, Upexi claims to have 2.4 million Solana coins on its balance sheet. As of the time of recording this video on February 4th, the price of the Solana coin is $92. So the value of their Solana holdings is $221 million. However, we also have to consider that in addition to issuing new shares to acquire Solana, in addition to issuing new shares to raise cash, Upexi has also issued debt and convertible bonds to raise proceeds for the purchase of Solana. So they currently have 2 different convertible notes. One matures in 2027, the other matures in 2028. Both of them are significantly out of the money, meaning that if Upexi's share price stays at the same level, they will have to pay back the principal upon maturity. So the 2027 convertible note has a face value of $150 million. They have this 2028 convertible note, which has a face value of $36 million. Plus, they have borrowed $50 million of short-term loans, of short-term debt, which is secured against their Solana holdings. So currently, Upexi's total amount of debt is $236 million. And their debt is greater than the value of their Solana. So their net asset value is negative $15 million. So they're underwater. And it's not too hard to see why they're underwater, because they started this Solana treasury strategy in April of 2025. Over the next few months, the Solana price increased massively, and in fact, it reached almost $250 in like September, November of 2025. So during this time, Upexi was borrowing money to purchase Solana coins at very high prices. Then over the past 2-3 months, the Solana price has collapsed, but they still have all of this debt which they borrowed. So that's why they're now underwater, because obviously you borrow $150 million to buy a bunch of Solana. The value of the Solana then decreases, but you still have that $150 million worth of debt that you're going to have to pay back. So Upexi is in a very bad situation. They levered up, bought a bunch of Solana at the peak. The Solana price has collapsed. Now they have a huge amount of debt, which how are they going to pay it back, right? And this goes to this stock promotion campaign. Realistically, I mean, unless they get lucky and the Solana price surges, okay, then they can sell the Solana to pay back their debt. But if let's just assume that the Solana price, stays at a constant level, if they're going to pay back their debt, realistically, the only way that they can do that is to sell a bunch of stock and sell stock to raise cash, and then use that cash to pay back the debt. But given how the share price has declined, if they're going to sell a lot of stock, they want to pump up the share price to a higher level, and that would explain why they're doing all these stock promotion campaigns and why they're advertising so heavily on CNBC and other places. So that about wraps it up for everything I had to talk about today. I was just, I kind of found out about this company randomly based on that stock promotion ad, and thought I would make a video about it. But this, we can kind of see how these, penny stock promotions work, especially with these shady companies that, announce that they're doing a crypto treasury pivot, and then they coincide that with a big stock promotion push. And then they almost immediately start dumping shares onto the market, resulting in a predictable decline in the share price. So if anybody in the audience has any opinions or thoughts about Upexi or crypto treasury companies in general, please let us know in the comment section below, and I will see you all on next week's video.